Jerrold Nadler. I've known him a long time. He's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. Pat Cipollone is a high-quality human being. I was very impressed with Pat. He had great emotion yesterday. Pat's a brilliant guy, but I've never seen that emotion. And that's real emotion. That's because he knows this is a hoax. And I was very proud of the job he did. I've known Jerry Nadler for a long time. He's opposed many of my jobs. I got them all built, very successfully built in New York. But so we have yet another fight. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it surprising? Isn't it amazing?
Do you think that Pelosi is sorry now that she unleashed this upon herself? You know, I actually am starting to believe that they're going to impeach themselves. I noticed last night, 53 to 47, every attempt to railroad Trump was shot down, despite what the lying media told us. Not one Republican turned on Trump, which is amazing. They said Collins would turn, and they said the guy from Utah would turn. None of them turned on Trump. The media lied to you again. Wolf Blitzer, liar. That other one, Jake Tapper, liar. And I said this will end with Dems impeaching themselves. I think that's going to happen, because I don't see it going any other way. The hubris, the chaos, the nemesis is right in front of our eyes. And it's interesting to me that nothing's really going to change. And so I posed the question this morning, how would your life actually change if the illegitimate racist Dems succeeded in removing President Trump from office? In other words, let's take the worst case scenario, or worst, and they get the turncoats to turn, and they remove Trump from office. Tell me what actually happens in your life, is what I asked you. A lot of people responded to that, some with rather predictable answers and some with unpredictable answers. I think the country would devolve into total anarchy and chaos, by the way, if the illegitimate racist Pelosi and her henchmen succeeded in removing Trump. I think that's what would happen. But would it really affect your life if Trump is removed from office? The stock market would crash. Your 401ks would collapse by 50%. What else would happen? Now, do you fear a racial civis of Occasional Cortex's speech? You won't believe what she said yesterday. She was outright fomenting race war against white people in front of a black audience. Nobody wins in a civil war. This drunken bartender needs to be thrown out of Congress for what she's doing. Should all flights be halted? Of course they should be. Of course they should be. In a sane nation, there'd be no flights coming in from China. But we don't live in a sane nation. We don't live in a nation where there's any medical sanity anymore. It's all, they put it up at, well, how much it'll cost us if we cut the flights from China. Of course, cut off flights from China during this epidemic. The Chinese themselves are stopping flights coming in from the region where the virus has first originated. They're smart enough to stop it from spreading in their own country, but not here. We have no Centers for Disease Control. It's the Center for Democrat Control. We have no CDC. I've tried to tell Trump this for 3 years now. Get rid of the politicians in the CDC. But no one listens to me with regard to that. They're too deeply entrenched. You talk about cleaning the swamp. You start with the swamp of the NIH and the CDC, and maybe you have some rational research and rational medical sense in the country. Of course it should be stopped, the flights. But the word quarantine went out with the AIDS epidemic. The lobby was so strong that you'll never ever see a quarantine for anything, even if it means a population dying from a virus from China. Never. They're afraid of the word quarantine. But getting back to the first question, how would it really affect your life if Trump was removed from office? Would it really matter? Does it really matter? I mean, we have a rather stable governmental system. Now, I know what's behind this. Pelosi watched The Godfather too many times, and she actually thought she'd be president by impeaching Trump and Pence. It's not going to happen. Because God forbid, even if they did succeed in removing Trump from office, Pence becomes president. And there would not be enough time for them to gin up a case against Pence and remove him. So it would be Pence and the same Republican Senate in control of the Senate and in control of the government. So even if it happened, the Godfather theme, we didn't have time, Michael. Governor Corleone, Senator Corleone, we'll get there, Michael. She watched the movie too many times. The nutcase, Nancy, thought she'd be president by impeaching Trump and Pence and get a twofer, but it ain't going to happen. That's all. If you want to call. Look, the phone number is 855-407-2822. I don't know if I even want to talk about this crap. How many of you really are watching this garbage? I know people, I know business people, they're not watching it. I know attorneys who are in court, they're not watching this garbage. They know it's a kabuki. It's a kabuki play. There's the Democrats screaming the world's going to come to an end unless Trump is removed. It's not going to happen. They don't control the Senate, where the vote takes place. And yet they're acting as if they're spoiled babies, screaming and screaming and screaming and throwing Pablo on the floor until mommy gives them what they want. They can scream all they want. It's not going to change a thing. So either you're watching or not watching the circus on television as Adam Shiftless lies to your faces and Trump's lawyers put up a defense. I don't think anybody's minds are being changed. I'm still sure you're all entrenched in your side on this issue. Either you support him or you don't. But think about this, please. Say this doesn't go our way and the president is somehow removed from office. Would this really affect your life? How would it affect you in any direct way? Would it really matter? Because the same power structure would be there. Same place. Pence would move in. There would be an orderly transition of power at the head of state. But policy-wise, what change would occur? Congress wouldn't change. The Senate wouldn't change. It would all come down to the election in November. So you would say they'd go after Pence. Well, there's not enough time in 9 months before an election to go after Pence right now. So it really comes down to next year's, the election in November of this year. They know that Trump will beat any one of their incompetent, nebbish candidates. This is really about the election coming up in November. It's not about right now. As one of Trump's lawyers said last night, this is not just about the last election, it's about the upcoming election as well. That's what it's all about. Pelosi and House Dems are betting the House on this next election, and they've chosen this impeachment as the vehicle they think will get them to the promised land. Will it? I doubt it. But they're acting like a wounded animal and lashing out as though their lives depend upon it. You know, elections have consequences, and that's partly what we're witnessing now. Our side lost the House of Representatives. Pelosi, Schiff, and Nadler, the three stooges of the apocalypse, rammed a sham impeachment down our throats, and we the people have to sit there and take it. And now they're screaming for witnesses in the Senate trial, trying to run how things are done there. But to his credit, McConnell is having none of it. Their screams and threats mean nothing because they don't run the Senate. Again, they're like babies screaming in a corner until they get their way, having a fit. It's amazing to me the Republicans have stood so solidly. And I tweeted last night, 53-47, each attempt to railroad Trump shot down. Despite what lying media told us, not one Republican turned on Trump. This will end with Dems impeaching themselves, unquote. Now, they made us believe that at least some of the four moderate or quisling Repubs would turn on Trump. They didn't. So what are the babies of the left whining and crying about? They want witnesses. Witnesses, by the way, which they could have called during the House impeachment hearings. But why didn't they call them? Why didn't they call the witnesses during the House impeachment hearings? The whole thing is nonsense. They said they had to hurry it up because Trump was so dangerous and he would endanger our national security. That's why they didn't want to bring witnesses. They didn't want to slow it down. And then Pelosi sat on the articles of impeachment for weeks, all over New Year's, as the witch tried to dictate what happens in the Senate. What happened to her need for speed? Then the night school nebbish, Jerry Nadler, keeps claiming the evidence is vast, clear, and indisputable. The case is rock solid. It is clear the president committed high crimes and misdemeanors. Yet they say if they get no witnesses, it will be a cover-up and a sham. How can you square both of those statements? So let's say they get their way, and there are witnesses, and they call John Bolton. That's the big one, right? Ooh, they're going to call the walrus. So what? Let me ask you something. What makes them think Bolton will stab Trump in the back? That would be political suicide for him. He would then become untouchable by any party. He's not going to want to be known as a Judas for the rest of his political life. So let's trade Biden for Bolton. Bolton would probably shock the left by not stabbing Trump in the back. On the other hand, Biden would be finished because everyone would see how corrupt the Biden family actually is. And then the gamble that the Dems took on the Bolton versus Biden thing would be over. But let's go the other way. What if Bolton would stab Trump in the back and the case is made that the president should be removed? Go back to that again. Huh? How would that affect your life? You know, we live in a constitutional republic. It's made for a smooth transition. If a president dies or a president is removed, there's a smooth transition that makes this country phenomenally viable, by the way. So how would it really affect you? Can you answer that question for me right now? I'll ask it again. How would it affect your life if Trump would be removed from office? Can you answer that?